You have the first original man, the Ha-Adam. And then came the first woman. And both man and woman, a male and female version in the likeness of Almighty God, Elohim, upon the earth, both in spirit and in flesh. A likeness of his divine people, true kings and queens upon Mother Earth, to reign supreme. And of course the Garden of Eden, was a part of Eden, right there in ancient Ethiopia, right there in ancient Mother Africa, in the entire continent. But the Garden of Eden was a special place of paradise, where you actually had a great portion of the spiritual Zion, or spiritual kingdom of heaven, right there on earth. A place right here on Mother Earth with no sin, no corruption, no death, no disease, no pain, no anger, no jealousy, no hatred, no evil or wickedness or deceit. It's almost kind of hard to imagine sometimes. It's what we all want as human beings, regardless of whether we're so-called peace-loving hippies or straight-up rebellious anarchists, whatever. We all want peace and love. That's what we had. Jah Kingdom right here on earth. And the first Ha-Adam, or Adam and Eve, the first man and woman, symbolizing the first men and women upon the earth. We had that pure oneness with the Most High Yahweh Jah, that pure oneness with Jah love and infinite knowledge. Our so-called IQ back then, especially Adam and Eve, like 700, beyond that spiritual consciousness of even the ancient prophets and patriarchs of what we call the Old Testament. Mankind's communication with Almighty God the Father was so much more clear and fluid than any of the ancient prophets of the Old Covenant, and even today in the true body of Moshiach and the New Covenant. But what could possibly disrupt such a perfect bliss? What else in the Father's creation, both in heaven and upon earth, from the spiritual into the physical realm upon earth, could be so powerful, yet so beautiful and appealing to both man and woman? Possibly that of a higher power or angelical being possessing a higher knowledge of that ancient, Kabbalistic knowledge that gave both man and woman its supreme powers and divinity upon earth as little gods in the likeness of Yahweh. But what else in the likeness of Almighty God, Elohim, besides mankind, and the angels, the angelical beings and protectors that watch over mankind upon earth as Yahweh's servants? And what other race of angelical beings, besides the jinn, according to the Quran and Islam, or even in ancient Judaism to modern Christianity, what is the angelical being or the supreme being, possibly even the cherubim, like the Archangel Michael or Gabriel, that was in charge of guarding the mercy seats, both in the spiritual Zion, that is the kingdom of heaven, and upon earth? Who was it that was once blessed to be a righteous servant to Almighty Yah, loyal? Who was it that eventually rebelled against the creator of all the universe, of both heaven and earth, not being satisfied with his position of being a top-rank angelical being of the universe, but wanted to be the creator himself, in pure hatred and jealousy towards his own maker and towards the human race? because of his rebellion, deceiving even a 1/3 of the angels in heaven, was cast down to the earth. But still having those divine cosmic powers, or those supernatural powers, even on earth, in the physical realm, in order to take his original form in such vain and beauty, deceiving the mistress of man himself. How would that ancient dragon serpent eventually get into man's heart? Through temptation of the woman, of course. If the ancient dragon serpent could get the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge and disobey Almighty God, perhaps he could use her to deceive man. Therefore, mankind gave up dominion to the Ha-Satan, or to Satan, that ancient dragon serpent. They give up a certain portion of power and dominion to that fallen angel. But now the children of Yahweh, both man and woman, are now ashamed. They feel naked. And remember, some of these symbology formats are not to be taken 100% literal. They were naked with the armor of Almighty God, Elohim, that spiritual armor of Yahweh that we read about in the last segment in the book of Ephesians. So being separate from Yahweh, or separate from Jah, because of turning away from his original commandments and from his law, being separated from Almighty God himself and his kingdom upon earth, having to face the penalty of their sin and disobedience. And remember the symbolism of the actual serpent, or an actual snake or serpent upon a tree and a piece of fruit, supposedly an apple. It doesn't say an apple in the original Torah or the original book of Genesis in the Bible. But it is symbolic for disobedience. What actually happened besides eating a piece of fruit. From Almighty Yah. We're kind of stretching it, so I'm not trying to give you people nightmares, so we'll leave on a positive tip. Although the soil of the earth was cursed, yes, he has conquered death, giving us his new covenant, and he has conquered the beast once and for all. Selah.